Every great product was an idea first. Ideas are what change the world as we know it. Inherently and intuitively, we want to solve problems and make our lives easier. And this journey starts with, well, you guessed it, ideas. What's an idea worth if we don't share it? This is exactly the reason why we are here today, to exchange ideas. Welcome to our brand new podcast, Ideas Exchange, where we discuss all things innovative and life-changing through the lens of core manufacturing segment. We speak to people who are makers, innovators, people who understand the engineering, the process, the logistics, the supply chain, and more importantly, the core business of manufacturing. In short, they manufacture ideas. Our first guest today in this series is Mr. Rakesh Gupta, who has had over 20 years of rich industrial experience. After graduating from the prestigious IIT Kanpur, he went on to work at Idex Corporation and had an illustrious run before taking a plunge into entrepreneurship. They are channel partners now for some of the leading global manufacturers like Idex Corporation and Valmet, and his two ventures, Madhav Fluid Solutions and Abodex Process Systems, are scaling newer heights every day. So let's begin our podcast. So on that note, let me jump into the first question, right? You started your journey as an applications engineer with a global manufacturing corporation, and now you've established your own business. Tell us a little bit about your journey from IIT Kanpur to applications engineer to now an entrepreneur. How has the journey been?
Well, I am an accidental engineer, So I come from a business background, from a very small town where basically our education is also in Hindi medium. Till 10th, we were basically, getting education in Hindi medium. And my father had a small textile mill, and there it was all set. You have to do nothing but join your father's business. That's what all my friends did, and that's what I was also supposed to do. So that's the little bit on my being an engineer on the
Right.
background. But somehow some of our friends, we thought, okay, why not, we have to join the business anyway. Let
Correct.
us go to do some education, and then we went on to do chemical engineering at IIT Kanpur. So once again, if you see, at that time when I graduated, it was 2002, just after 9 by 11.
Right.
So at that time, Infosys will come on the very first day. They will take 100 people.
Correct.
Second day Wipro, third day TCS, and Satyam and all the rest.
Correct.
And all the remaining people will go to abroad, US, typically to do their PhD. But I was not able to imagine myself that, after doing 4 years of chemical engineering, it was very difficult for me to sit in front of a computer and do the coding. That's what my idea was about software engineering. So,
Right.
so
Right.
I went into this field, thinking that I have to, do something on the ground. I like meeting people. I like talking to people. So that's where I started enjoying this particular journey into industrial world.
That's quite interesting, Rakesh. I think so. Would it be fair to say that getting into this field was sort of an obvious choice for you?
At that time, I mean, a batch before us had two jobs. Everybody had at least two jobs. In our batch, most of the people did not even have a job. Even if they have a job, they did not have a joining date.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I came to Mumbai, because being, chemical industries, kind of a headquarter of India. So I thought, why not come to Mumbai and explore? Then when I saw one opening, at a company, Idex Corporation. So they were looking for some people, and I was applying left and right as
Right.
long as it was some industrial job. And
Right.
I thought, why not try my hand? And that's where maybe one learning for the team, people who are listening. I mean, all our listeners, that the job profile requested at least 2 years of experience. I thought, why not go ahead and apply it? And my boss at that time, the person who selected me, he at least found something in me, so he got me selected there.
So that,
Normally, all people who are mechanical engineers typically
Right.
come into the pump world, but being a chemical engineer, it was a little bit different for me.
Right. No, that's actually an interesting anecdote and quite timely, I must say, because uh, unfortunately, looks like we've seen this trend. I mean, I recently came across an article a couple of months back that there are some IT grads who are struggling to get into campus placements right now. So, of course, there are these financial cycles that keep coming up and down, and I'm pretty sure
Right, right.
with the current administration, we'll be able to see some upside there. But looks like maybe in a smaller way, a similar trend is back where there aren't too many companies lining up and people have 3, 4 job offers in their hand before they step out. So an environment
Mm-hmm.
like this could actually help a lot of people who are possibly trying to get into the industrial or manufacturing space. That you know what, if you're actually serious about it, it's not that you can't make it big. I mean, from an
Right.
graduate to an application engineer to an entrepreneur today, I think there's a lot that people can learn from your journey.
Sure. Well, I mean, always we think of very short window after the
Correct.
engineering, but I mean, getting a degree is just one part of your career.
Right.
I mean, it's not everything. It gives you a platform, but at the end of the day, how you approach different things makes a big difference. You
Absolutely.
you you also were having a cozy job at a bank, right? How's your journey, Kshitij? Tell us more about it.
So Rakesh, I think my journey sort of mirrors yours to start with. Like I also was an
Okay.
accidental engineer, but I was an accidental engineer because the entire generation was accidental engineer at that point in time. When I got into engineering, everybody, all my friends, anybody was pretty much getting into engineering, and I thought, okay, this is what career is supposed to look like. I also came from a
Mhm.
tier two, tier three town, and although there was some manufacturing experience with respect to my family, there are some family members who've been in the manufacturing space for the longest time. In fact, my father also had his own manufacturing process way back, but
Okay.
nothing in the recent times. I thought that okay, let's get into engineering and see. And that time, computer science was in vogue, so I got into computer science engineering. That's where I got a little bit of tech background. But
Hmm.
like a couple of years into engineering, I thought that okay, maybe this is kind of a mistake. And then I thought that okay, you know what, maybe let's supplement this with an MBA.
Wow. Tell us more about Ideas Meet. I'm also excited to hear about this.
Absolutely. So in fact, what we realized was that when I had decided to become an entrepreneur, I was very clear that I wanted to be an entrepreneur who's solving a big enough problem for a big enough audience. Rather than having a solution in search for a problem, I wanted to search for a problem big enough or worthy enough to be solved. And I realized that the B2B space, specifically manufacturing space, lacked a cohesive network where
Hmm.
all the stakeholders can come together and collaborate, right? What we realized, me and the initial founding members realized that there isn't a single ecosystem where all the stakeholders can come together to share ideas, innovations, knowledge, reach out to suppliers for any specific requirements that they have, or promote products that they are making. Because unlike a D2C product where I can put up a Facebook ad and sell a t-shirt, selling industrial products is not that easy, right? You coming from the
Yeah.
industrial background understand that in order to sell $100,000 machine, you need to do a lot of convincing. There's no way you can do this over a social network, right? So you
Right.
need
Right.
ecosystem, but at the same time, what I also realized was that the whole manufacturing segment has been left out of this digitization wave that we have seen. A lot of things still happen in a very offline fashion. People tend to reach out to
Hmm.
suppliers, people tend to reach out to their vendors in an offline mode. People try and promote their products at industrial expos or trade shows. There is no online resource where people can stay plugged in to know about what's happening in their industry. And we thought that, okay, in this day and age when everything is digitized, where I can get a phone delivered in 30 minutes and when I can get my grocery delivered in 10 minutes, why can't we digitize different levers of manufacturing? Why can't we make lives of manufacturers easy through technology? So that's pretty much what the inspiration of Ideas Meet was, and that's how we started. And of course, the community is now growing.
Wow, that's very exciting. And I mean, is it more like Amazon of manufacturing world, or?
So a little bit yes and a little bit no. If
Mhm.
we say Actually, it's interesting, right? Since you mentioned Amazon, Amazon literally, when Jeff started Amazon, the reason why he named it Amazon was it is A to Z of everything, right? Just like the Amazon
Okay.
rainforest, you can find everything there. We are trying to be that for manufacturing, that manufacturers don't have to step out of ideas meet to search for anything. You want knowledge, you want experts, you want suppliers, you want raw materials, you want to sell your products, you want customers. Anything and everything that a manufacturer would want is available on ideas meet. That being said, we are not a marketplace like Amazon. So we are not buying and
Okay.
selling on ideas meet. This is just a platform for all these stakeholders to come together and discover each other.
You are very passionate about it. I mean, this is
Yeah,
that is
actually,
very apparent, the way you spoke. So I think, I think one of the, I mean, being in the industry for so many years, one of the things what we also see is that, many of these smaller companies kind of have difficulties in reaching out to
right,
large set of people.
right.
So I mean, if you are able to kind of have a platform like ideas meet, where people can go and they can reach out to so many different type of people, I mean, who could be potential collaboration, learning opportunities, working together, those kind of platforms. I think there is no such platform right now. I haven't seen one. So all the best with that, whatever new discoveries you are making on that. So
Thank you so much, Rakesh. Means a lot coming from someone like you. And actually, speaking about passion, we'd really like to know, having been associated with this industry for so long, you're passionate about process industry. Why don't you shed some light on, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to know from someone like you on where is process industry headed? What are the latest innovations? What are the latest ideas? What's new in the process world?
well, as with most of the other things which are happening, so one of the key things which process industry is looking at is sustainability.
Right,
Correct. So I
right,
mean, whether you talk to any people, government, all over the place, the priority is sustainability. And growing sustainability in terms of not just trying to have less consumption on the air, that is or the energy, that is one aspect of it. But overall, the complete way you think about sustainability. So I think that is one area which people are really adopting to, as far as sustainability is concerned. And other thing which I feel is which is there is the efficiency part of it. Of course,
right,
as the complete globalization has happened, and you have all these different things which are playing out. So you have to be efficient. I mean, so there's a lot of drive which is there, I mean, all over the world, where you are trying to be the most efficient way you are able to manufacture anything. So I think increasing efficiency and sustainability will be two aspects of it. Particularly if I look at Indian companies, some of the Indian specialty chemical manufacturers, so safety is something that I have seen, that aspect has
hmm,
changed a lot over the period of time.
right.
People thought that, okay, safety is for people with
Technological,
having
yeah,
higher money or budgets.
right.
But I don't think anymore. I mean, management and the leadership is taking the safety very on a priority list, and they ensure that it is being understood by the people, that the way they come in, the people go out in the same way. So I think
Right.
that's one aspect which has changed a lot. So it is very apparent when you move inside the industry, in terms of automation which is happening, which is also part of efficiency and safety aspect of it.
That's actually quite interesting. And I think since you touched upon sustainability as the first factor, I think at least as an outsider or now as an insider, I think sustainability is changing the way people look at their business. Right? I think initially it started off with a tick mark item and a good to have of a principle to put on your deck that, oh, we are adopting sustainable practices. But I think over a period of time, people have realized that, oh, you know what, if we are sustainable, not only is it good for the environment, but it works for our business as well. Like if we're able to
Exactly.
get circular
Exactly.
economy going, if we're able to do this well, I can save cost, I can deliver better products, I can service my customers better, and it's great for the environment. Like it's win, 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 win. Why would you not want to do that?
Right. So it's the whole ecosystem that goes
Correct.
together. Right.
Correct. Absolutely. Okay. Fantastic. So, Rakesh, as high tech and serious a business manufacturing is, right? And I think the question that I want to ask is, like, imagine yourself as a young college pass out today, right? Why would you tell this person that manufacturing is cool? Do you think
Right.
manufacturing is cool? Do you think it's cool to get into manufacturing? What wisdom would you impart to a fresh college grad today who's thinking, should I get into services business? Should I get into tech? Should I get into manufacturing? If you were to make a pitch to this youngster and tell him that, hey, you know what, manufacturing is cool, what would you say to this guy?
Well, I mean, I look at it little different way, this question. So, see, there is no dichotomy of, services and goods, right? I mean, basically, uh, there is huge opportunities out there, right? But at the end of the day, when you think about it, what services, I mean, ultimately, a service provider is providing services to whom?
To the end consumer.
To either a consumer, or in many cases, that's where the real money is also being made, is your manufacturing organization, right? So without an industrial marketplace,
Correct.
there couldn't be any services, right? I mean, even for a consumer, if a consumer is buying a shampoo, right? That shampoo is manufactured somewhere. So, so if you think from that
That's one
perspective,
hell of a
right?
pitch, I must say.
So that's there will be opportunities in the services always, because you can always do something in a better way, and that's where the services comes into picture, like your organization, right? Ideas Meet, where
Right.
you are trying to provide a platform where people can discover.
Right.
At the same time, ultimately discover and do what?
Right.
Right? They
Correct.
are able to do some things better than what they are doing. So for example, right now you have a reactor or a column and a gas is going out, and you are
Right.
scrubbing and venting off, but you could also find a way to recover that gas and try to make something out of it. So
Right.
ultimately, I think this whole ecosystem goes together. So I think manufacturing is something that will remain and will continue to grow, as you find more and more opportunities in services as well.
That's really interesting. And like I said, that's one hell of a pitch to a youngster that, hey, you know what, ultimately it's all manufacturing. So why not just get right into it? Why
Right.
take the long route? Yeah, I get that. Rakesh, what do you think? Who, according to you, has been able to crack manufacturing in a big way, right? Like putting sustainable practices or actually really poised for the future. Is there any company or individual that you look up to who's done this well?
Well, I would name a very controversial person.
Uh-huh. Please.
Elon Musk. I mean, I'm a
Right.
big fan of Elon
Right.
Musk. And
Right.
you think about it, what this guy has done. Um, Tesla,
Yep.
EV, we talked about sustainability.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you see in US, trucks are, on the road with electric vehicle. Nobody could have even imagined that.
Correct.
Um, it's all manufacturing again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then you have SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
It was all government, right?
Right.
And now, they are launching these spacecrafts, which are again, done by a private company.
Right.
And you don't leave these two things aside, and then you have Starlink, right? So even
Right.
if you are in a village, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all these optical fibers. I mean, Geo has done so much of investments, right?
Correct.
Putting optical fibers, but you don't need optical fiber. You don't have to take it to the last village.
Correct.
With the satellites, you can possibly get a very very high quality broadband also. So I think in short while, I mean, what Elon Musk has done is something incredible. So I'm a huge fan of that.
Right. No, I get that, and yeah, I also get why you started off by saying somebody controversial. Yeah, there
Yeah,
are a
because
lot of
of
things
Twitter, now X.
on which people would differ, but I agree with you. Yeah, that if there is one person who's possibly tried to make manufacturing look cool, it's Elon Musk. What he did with SpaceX, what he did with Tesla, what he did with Starlink. In fact, initially he was also associated with OpenAI, and we all
Yeah,
see where it is headed now. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. So from let's cut over from Elon Musk and go to the other side of the spectrum. How about a
right.
startup? Have you seen a new company or a startup who's trying to change the manufacturing game for the better?
I mean, again, I mean, this is what the example like you want something. I mean, maybe a product. I'll give you an example of a specific product. I
Sure.
mean, the way to think about it also.
Absolutely.
See, and it doesn't have to be, I mean, when we think of a startup doesn't have to have, a very small beginning and entrepreneurship. You may be working in a big company, but you can be having your own startup within that company. So I'll again go back to idex and I talk about air operated double diaphragm pump. Now,
Right.
forgive me for my technical,
Oh, no,
little bit here
absolutely.
and there, but maybe people don't know what an air pump is. But it's a great product, but it consumes air, which is not very cheap, because air you have, people think air is free, but compressed air is not free because you have to first compress it and then use it inside the pump. So product has great advantage, but it's expensive. You know, Everybody knew that we need an electrically operated pump that can do
Right.
the same job.
Right.
But last 3 decades, nobody was able to do it. And with his leadership and the vision, they developed a product line, Cognito air operated double diaphragm pump. They invested 2 to 3 years of R&D. They experimented with various technologies. And last couple of years, we have been supplying to the field. And, it's so heartening to see that, people are able to save so much of money. So I think when we think of startup or entrepreneurship, it can happen well within a big organization also. It's about how the leadership is giving you a space and how much you are able to believe in those ideas. So
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for sharing that, Rakesh. I think that was quite inspiring. And yeah, while you started off with a product, you spoke about a person and a company. I think more often than not, it's a combination of this. It's
yeah,
rarely an individual or one company. It's about people coming together and the power of the community, which sort of unlocks a lot of solutions which have been problematic for a while, which is pretty much what happened with this problem of yours, right?
right. It's rarely like in a movie a hero comes and does something. You have this
True.
Rajnikant coming in a movie and he will fight with 50 people and all of them will get down. It doesn't
Absolutely.
happen in real life. It's all
Yeah.
about teamwork.
In fact, even if you look at that example, like there is a team of 100 people behind that movie to make Rajnikant look cool, right? So it's again a team effort. It's again a group of people coming together to make you look like that person. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right, right, right.
great. So I think Rakesh, what we would also want to understand from someone like you is that where do you see this headed? Like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you foresee in the process industry, or more, in a more broader sense, in manufacturing? And in general, how can manufacturers be more prepared to sort of brave those challenges, which you see coming in in the next few years? Specifically, if it's a new entrepreneur or a new manufacturer starting his journey, how do you see them wading through some of these challenges, and what are some of those challenges that they should be prepared for?
So, I mean, taking a very larger context of it, whether it is a small organization or a large organization, see, the Black Swan event is no more like, Black Swan. I mean, it doesn't happen once in a while, right? I mean, you see, in last 4 years, we had COVID. Right? Who could have imagined that, you would not be able to go to office for 6 months or 1 year, right?
Right.
Before that, it was unthinkable that, you will not be able to even go to your, loved ones also nearby. COVID happened, then Ukraine-Russia war happened. I mean, who would have thought that a country like Ukraine will fight with Russia and disrupt the complete supply chain, right? I think we are living in a world where the uncertainty is very high. You, as a manufacturer, the implications is that it's very difficult to predict demand, right? So, for example, the Europe is slow down, China is selling so much to Europe, and Indian chemical industry is completely affected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you you
Yeah.
you think about these contexts, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong which the industry had done, right? I mean, they
Correct.
are running a good
Correct.
operation. There's a good leadership team. There
Correct.
are efficiencies. Everything is great, right? But something happens outside the world, and your company is suddenly running at 40% capacity, and you still have to report your earnings to the board and and
Correct.
and to shareholders, and they are not very fair forgiving at that. So I think we are living in a very uncertain world, and lean manufacturing kind of adapt to varying customer demands, able to give a mix of products, right, based on the needs of the customer. So I mean, these kind of practices, if a company is able to kind of quickly adapt to various demand outside which is there, I think those companies will excel in the future. So I mean, you really have to be very fast in adapting to different environments.
Absolutely. I think that was a pearl of wisdom. Because yeah, I agree with what you said. Like the whole geopolitical scenario is dynamic even as we speak, and will continue to be dynamic for a while.
Okay.
And the only way, and it's not something in your supply chain, or it's not something to do which you could control otherwise. But the only way to win over this possibly is to stay agile and to stay adaptable. So I think yeah, that's actually a pearl of wisdom from someone like you. Thank you,
Yeah, I
Ram.
mean, you see, I mean, a currency like yen has
Yeah,
depreciated 10% in
correct.
few days. I
You
mean,
try to find logic with something like that, there is little to
they,
none. I mean,
by the time you find logic, something else is
something else
changing.
has triggered already. True, true. Staying nimble, staying agile, staying adaptable is
Yeah.
the way to tide over this, and is the way to go. Great.
So that's where the collaboration, makes a lot of difference, because, ultimately the way you work is lean, and then, you have to really collaborate with people. So I think then only you could be, multiplying yourself.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much what we're trying to do at Ideas Meet. We're trying to encourage collaboration between all stakeholders, because we truly believe that only once the entire ecosystem comes together and collaborates, you can tide over all kinds of challenges in your day-to-day life, business life, right? So yeah. So
Right.
Rakesh, last but not the least, I have to ask you this. After decades of services boom, do you think we are headed towards a manufacturing boom? Is manufacturing finally going to be cool with all these government push and initiatives like Make in India, with all these new companies that are coming up? And do you see a manufacturing boom impending very soon?
Well, as we speak, it's already happening.
Right.
See, think about it. 3 years ago, what was the manufacturing capacity of India in terms of mobile?
Right.
Last year, 410 lakh crore, which is, I think I have to translate, but it's about $500 billion, I think.
Pretty much.
I
Yeah.
mean, something, huge
Upwards of that.
number, right?
Yeah.
So, and 25% of that is being exported
Yeah.
out of India. So, I mean, 7, 8 years ago, if you had asked somebody that could India be a manufacturing hub for mobile, it's already happening. It's already, India is the place where you are manufacturing mobile. Now think about huge investments in PSUs, infrastructure. Now where it is going? I mean, you build bridges.
Yeah.
You need cement, you need steel, you need paint, you need, resins, adhesives. I mean, all these things. So it's
Correct.
actually already happening as we speak. And once you have this superlative infrastructure in place, you are having these airports being built, you are having this ports being built, so all these connectivities which are happening, then you have a framework where incentives are being given, semiconductor, again, huge
Yeah.
opportunity for
Airports.
India,
Yeah.
right? It's already happening now. Electric vehicle, imagine all these cars which are there, it will be replaced, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we just heard that, a couple of days back, Bhavesh Agarwal, from Ola, Electric, they raised more than 2,500 crore. I mean, something like that,
Correct.
2,300 crore. So, I mean, again, these are all manufacturing, right? So, automobile, infrastructure, right? Mobile, all these places already manufacturing is happening, but there's still a long way to go because 15% of our GDP, I mean, if you look at roughly, comes from agriculture,
Right.
but more than 50% of our population is dependent on agriculture. So, there's still huge opportunity out there for us, to have that labor force being engaged into something more, productive. So, that's where manufacturing can provide that platform where, we'll have, there's no choice, it has to happen.
Great. That's on that hopeful and positive note that there is no choice. It has to happen. Let's
Yeah.
hope. And like you rightly said, it is already happening in a manner of speaking. So yeah, on that note, I'd like to take a moment and just thank you for taking out time and doing this with us, Rakesh. I think our viewers and listeners would be very happy to hear your thoughts about manufacturing, about the industry, about your journey, how inspiring it has been, about the pitfalls that they need to watch out for, and how they can sort of get the whole community working for them. Thank you so much. This was really great, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kshitij, for hosting me.